Welcome back. All right, 10 games to talk about tonight if you're looking for a review of the matinee games. Those are already on the channel. And also, I might be wearing a Blues jersey, but I got nervous. I'm not Jordan Binnington. The first game of the day that we're going to talk about definitely made me nervous. Well, first game of the night we're going to talk about. Tampa Bay and Boston. So today I went against what I normally do. Well, last night I went against what I normally do. Wore a Bruins jersey for a preview, and I felt like I had jinxed them 20 seconds in because you have Vasilevsky against Ullmark and point scores from Kucherov at 20 seconds. It's a turnover, it's buried, and all I could think was, dear Lord, what have I done? So the Bolts press for another, and this is where like I go into full panic mode, like, oh man, the Bruins are going to get killed, and then I'm going to look at that jersey and go, and I did this. So we get a power play for Boston, and they score on it. It's Frederick from Shattenkirk and Lindholm at 4:42. The Bruins then go back to the power play. That one's killed off. The shots are 10-4 Boston at the half. We get a power play for Tampa Bay. That was killed off. And then McAvoy would score to make it 2-1 for Boston from Heinen at 14:56. It was a screenshot that deflected in off of Braden Point's stick. So technically, two goals went in off Point's stick, one of them in the Tampa net, one of them in the Boston net. It's 2-1 Boston after one. Second period, Frederick scores again, this time from Grzelcyk and Poitras at 1:49. He banks one in from the side of the net. Nice to see Poitras on the board as well. Frederick with a couple of goals tonight. Power play for Boston. That gets killed off. Boston goes back to the power play, but a shorthanded rush leads to a minute and 36 seconds of 4-on-4. And these teams really like 4-on-4, apparently, because first you have Kucherov at 7:53. And then at 8:22 on a breakaway, Pastrnak buries one. Also during that 4-on-4, and Zacha had the assist. And then everything gets killed off from there. But it's up to you to decide whether or not it was truly killed off when you get two goals 4-on-4. Shots are 11-4 for Boston with 5 minutes left. And then on their fifth shot, Tampa Bay scores. It's point from Kucherov and Hagel at 15:53. It's a tic-tac-toe goal on a rush. So after 2 periods of play, Boston's up 4-3. Third period, Stamkos is denied in close, and then Kucherov has a net feed that's picked off. Try to read two lines at the same time. Doesn't work. So that net feed gets picked off, and then it's a 2-on-1 the other way, and Geeky buries one. Pastrnak and Lindholm with the assists at 1:35. Tampa Bay presses at 3.5 minutes. Mott's denied. We get a power play for Tampa Bay. That's killed off. Boston presses at 9.5 minutes. Things get pushed in a hole by Vasilevsky. There's a power play for Tampa. They pull the goalie to make it 6-on-4, and DeBrusk hits the empty net shorthanded at 16:34. And then with Vasilevsky back in the net, just for fun, Charlie Coyle gets one at 17:14. Your final score is 7-3. Thus the 80s magnet. The second 80s magnet used so far today. We have the third right down here, but that's a spoiler, so don't look ahead. Boston wins this one 7-3 to go to 24-8-6, a much needed victory. Tampa Bay 19-17-5 with loss. And I say much needed because Tampa Bay is a team they really don't like, and coming off of a rough loss against Pittsburgh, they needed this bounce back. Shots on net 13-12 Tampa in the first, 11-5 Boston in the second, 8-4 Tampa in the third. Final shots 27-26 for the Bruins. Power plays, Tampa Bay 0-4, Boston 1-4. The hits 28-19 for Boston. Vasilevsky saves 20 out of 26. Ullmark saves 23 out of 26 at the other end. So, entertaining game. I didn't jinx them. It worked. I wore the jersey and they didn't lose. All right, Minnesota and Columbus. So it was Fleury versus Tarasov in this one. And at one point in this, I was like, Fleury's never going to catch Patrick Roy, is he? So early jump for the Wild. The shots are 3-2 Minnesota at 3 minutes. Tarasov was busy and really sharp early in this game. The Wild pressed at 6.5 minutes. Marchenko then has a wraparound that's saved. And then the third shot for Columbus goes in the net. It's Sillinger from Bean and Boquist at 8:09. The Wild had 9 shots to that point in the game. We get a power play for Columbus. It's a 4-minute power play. During that power play, Bemstrom has a shot that's caught and held. There were opportunities, but Minnesota kills that off. The Wild then get a power play, and they score on it. Right off the face-off, it's Boldy from Faber and Eriksson Ek at 14:47. The Jackets would press in the final minute, but it's 1-1 after one. Second period takes 17 seconds for Sillinger to bury one from the slot to put Columbus back into the lead. Marchenko with the assist on that. So a minute and 7 seconds into the period, 2-1 Columbus. Jackets press at 1.5 minutes. Things get punchy at 2:46. That leads to a Columbus power play. That was killed off by Minnesota. No shots, or 2 shots, I should say. Columbus presses at 6.5 minutes. The shots are 7-0 Columbus 9 minutes in. So Minnesota not getting opportunities, but they end up drawing a power play and they score on it. It's Boldy again from Zuccarello in favor at 10:15. I'm guessing that Wild fans are glad Zuccarello's back. The Jackets press are kept to the outside. Kent Johnson misses one wide on a spinorama. With 2:10 left, there's too many Columbus players on the ice, so Minnesota with the power play. There was a shorthanded rush by Danforth that helped end it. So after 2 periods, the score's 2-2. Third period, Jackets press at a minute and a half. There's a power play for Minnesota. That's killed off. 3 shots during that power play. Shots are 6-1 Minnesota at 6 minutes. Chinakhov then has a rush chance. That's held. Rossi had a turnover chance. That was defended. The Wild press was 7 minutes left. We then get a power play for Columbus, and they score on it. It's Sillinger from Boquist at 14-13. That is the hat trick goal for Cole Sillinger. Maybe he's finally getting things going, and that'd be great. So he gets all 3 goals for Columbus tonight. Things get pushy on a hold by Fleury. Things are punchy with 3:20 left. Zuccarello has a net feed that's picked off, and then at 18:28 with the goal he pulled, Johansson scores from Hartman, ties the game. We're going to overtime. Wild controlled it early. Fantilli has a rush chance that fires wide after a turnover by Minnesota. Chinakhov has a rush chance that's held. The Wild take over. They set up. Chinakhov gets robbed. Fleury holds. And then at 3:05, Rossi scores to end it from Boldy in favor. 4-3 is your final in favor of the Minnesota Wild in overtime. They go to 17-17-4 with the win. With the overtime loss, Columbus 13-19-9. Shots on net, 11-7 Minnesota in the first, 11-10 Minnesota in the second, 13-8 Minnesota in the third. In the overtime, 3-2 for Columbus, but Minnesota had the shot that matters. Final shots, 37-28 for Minnesota. Power plays, Minnesota 2 for 4, Columbus 1 for 4. The hits, 11-6 for Columbus. Fleury saved 25 out of 28. He ties Patrick Roy for second on the all-time wins list. Tarasov, 33 saves on 37 shots. So Minnesota gets a win they needed. It wasn't easy, but they get it, and we'll see if that leads to more wins down the road. All right, next up, the Rangers. The New York Rangers in against Montreal. So for the Rangers, does this qualify as a trap game? I don't think it does because, yeah, Montembeault was fantastic in this. So it's Quick versus Montembeault. The shots are 2-1 for Montreal 3 minutes in. Miller blocks a Caulfield chance, so Keandre Miller busy in the first period. The Rangers press 5 minutes in. We get a power play for New York. That's killed off. Rangers press at 9.5 minutes, but it's Montreal that ends up opening scoring. It's Gallagher from Evans and Savard at 11 minutes and 37 seconds. So for Gallagher, that's his first goal in 25 games, and he buries that one from the slot. Rangers look to respond. There's a press by the Rangers with 6.5 minutes left. Goudreau is denied in close. Habs press in the closing seconds. It's 1-0 Montreal after 1. And early in the second period at 1:09, Ullinen scores to make it 2-0. The Habs would press for another, and they get it. At 2:39, it's Armia from Stevens and Pizzetta. So you're getting goals from the bottom 6 as well. It's 3-0 Montreal. Rangers press 6.5 minutes in. Zibanejad's denied. The Habs clear. We get a power play for Montreal. Caulfield's denied. Quick holds. They do kill that off. And then Trocheck scores to make it 3-1. Gustafsson and Panarin with the assists at 10:28. Then off of a face-off win, Panarin buries one. Trocheck with the assist at 14:29. So it's 3-2. Teams exchange rush chances. 2:58 left. The Rangers get a power play. That's killed off. We're going to the third period. There's a good early back and forth. Caulfield has a rush chance. That's saved. Rangers press 5 minutes into the period. Slavkovsky had a rush chance. That was defended. Miller has a shot that's blocked. The Habs clear, and eventually the Rangers tie it. It's Adam Fox on a goal from Jimmy Vesey at 9:30. It's a 3-3 tie. Power play for New York. Trocheck's denied. The puck's held. That power play's killed off. The Habs press with 4 minutes left, but we're going to overtime. In the overtime, Matheson's denied. The Rangers rush. Suzuki steals one, fires it high. Lafreniere's denied on a rush chance. With 11.1 seconds left, the Habs get a power play. We end up going to a shootout. In the shootout, it is Cole Caulfield with the winner. So Montreal wins in the shootout 4-3. They go to 17-17-5 on the season. The Rangers 26-10-2 with the shootout loss. Shots on net, 14-7 Rangers in the first, 20-13 Rangers in the second, 10-8 Rangers in the third. In the overtime, 4-2. The final shots, 48-30 for the Rangers. Power plays, 0-3 for the Rangers, 0-2 for Montreal. They hit 17-15 for the Rangers. Jonathan Quick saved 27 out of 30. Montembeault was fantastic, 45 saves on 48 shots. Can't say anything bad about Montembeault in this game at all. Why would I want to? All right, Vancouver and the New Jersey Devils. This ends up being the other 80s game today. And it looked like, hey, this should be easy. And then it wasn't because it's New Jersey. And I know New Jersey's record's not great at home, but I thought they played well, especially in the absence of Jack Hughes. So it's Demko versus Dawes in this one. Joshua has a net drive that's defended. Canucks score, but there's goalie interference. The challenge happens and no goal. And it was Brock Besser. It was before I could even say to my wife, hey, Besser, no. So there goes my fun for the night. Pressed by the Canucks are kept to the outside. Amon is denied. Dawes holds there. Shots are 6-1 Vancouver, only 5 minutes into the game, too. We get a power play for the Canucks. Kuzmenko gets denied. It's cleared out. That power play is killed off. Pedersen has a wraparound that's saved. Mercer's denied on a fast break. And the Canucks press with 2.5 minutes left. But even though they've outshot New Jersey by more than a 3-1 ratio, it's still just scoreless after one. Second period, 41 seconds in. It's a point shot that gets tipped in. Pedersen with the goal from Hronek and Hughes, and the Canucks are on their way. Canucks press at 3 minutes. Eventually they score. Miller buries a rebound from Hughes and Hronek at 3:31. And then at 4:37, JT Miller gets the second goal of the game. He scores that from Pedersen and Cole, which means Colin Miller went, oh, Millers are scoring. So Colin Miller gets a goal. He scores from Lazar and McLeod at 6:43. So when the Canucks play in New York against the Rangers, I assume both JT Miller and Keandre Miller will get goals in that game. But yeah, Colin Miller scores from Lazar and McLeod at 6:43. The Canucks then press at the half. The Devils press with 8 minutes left. Garland has a net feed. That's tipped wide. Bluger has a slot shot. That's held. Kuzmenko's denied on a fast break. Getting a lot of opportunities at that point, too. And then New Jersey gets on the board. It's Howla from Bratt and Luke Hughes at 19:35. But Vancouver answers quickly. 14 seconds later, it's Connor Garland from Joshua and Soucy. Soucy returned to the lineup. Really helped the Canucks defense. That's why they only allowed 4 goals tonight. So things are pushy at the horn. I'm kidding. Soucy's a very good defenseman. I'm glad to see him back in the lineup for Vancouver. So yeah, after 2 periods, the score's 4-2. So very eventful second period. Third period, eventful too. At 2.5 minutes, or 2:33, Pedersen scores his second of the game from Besser and Hughes. Luke Hughes then had a rush chance that saved. Fans call one, the referee doesn't, but shortly thereafter, there's a power play for the Devils. I've started noticing a pattern. The fans boo and they want to call and they yell, ref, you suck. And then there's a power play magically shortly thereafter. I'm not saying they're not legit. It's just a trend that I'm starting to think, do I need to track this with like them chanting at the ref and being mad at the ref, and then they get a power play soon after? Like, should I track that? Anyways, it's one of those things I probably have to track from the start of the year. So, Toffoli to Hischier gets picked off. That power play ends up being killed off as well. Then there's a rush chance for Toffoli that's held, and it looks like, hey, the Canucks have got this. They're up 5-2. But Colin Miller scores again. He scores from Tierney and Smith at 11:07. And then Brendan Smith scores from Howla and Bratt at 12:54. So now it's 5-4, and the Devils are looking to tie it. With 3:31 left, the Devils get a power play. That was killed off, though. They did make it a 6-on-4 during that, so things get a little bit, hairy and all that, but that's where Demko earns his money. And then it's an empty netter. It's Joshua, and the assist to Miller, who could have absolutely hit the empty net himself, but he passes over to Dakota Joshua instead. So he sacrificed a hat trick to get Joshua a goal. Bluger with the other assist at 18:49. Vancouver wins this one 6-4. They go to 25-11-3 with the win. The New Jersey Devils 21-15-2 with the loss. The shots on net favor Vancouver the whole way. 17-5 in the first, 15-11 in the second, and then 10-9 in the third. Final shots 42-25 in favor of the Vancouver Canucks. Power plays Vancouver 0-1, New Jersey 0-2. The hits 11-10 for Vancouver. Demko saves 21 out of 25. Dawes saves 36 out of 41 at the other end. And now I need to change boards. All right, Buffalo and Pittsburgh. So if Buffalo starts to get things going when I stop saying Buffalo needs to get things going, does the fact that I'm not saying it anymore mean that I'm not saying it because I'd like to see them win some? Anyways, I'm going to overthink it. Luukkonen versus Jari in this one. The shots are 2-1 for the Penguins, a minute and a half in. The Penguins press at 2 minutes, but on a rush. At 2:53, Buffalo gets on the board. It's Tuck from Clifton and Thompson. Ruedel then has a rush chance that saved. The Sabres press at 5 minutes. Crosby's denied on a fast break. There was a near miss for Mittelstadt on a net drive. Pressed by the Penguins with 6 minutes left. The Penguins score, but it's offside. I believe there were 3 goals called back in that first period. So one of them's not on the board, too. So, yeah. Anyways, Eller has a shot that's blocked. The Penguins press. Raquel has a chance that's held. The Penguins with some momentum, and they tie it. But goalie interference challenge, and that works. So this is where the referee is told that he sucks. It's 1-0 Buffalo after one. Second period, early power play for the Penguins. That's killed off. The Penguins nearly score thereafter, but it's cleared out. The shots are 3 apiece at 4 minutes. We get a power play for Pittsburgh after that. That was killed off. Sabres, they press, they draw themselves a power play. That was killed off as well. With 44 seconds left, the Penguins draw a power play. However, it ends up being 4-on-4 shortly thereafter. So we go to the third period. Everything gets killed off. It's still 1-0 Buffalo. Sabres go back to the power play shortly thereafter, though. That was killed off as well. Gensel's denied as the Penguins press. The Penguins draw a power play, a 5-on-3, shortly thereafter. And then during the 5-on-3, Raquel scores from Carlson and Malkin at 7:48. So it deflects in, and it counts. So I had to put in it counts because, they weren't counting goals up to this point for Pittsburgh. It's 1-1. The 5-on-4 is then killed off. Penguins press for the lead. There's a chest save on Riley Smith by Luukkonen. It's cleared out. Penguins press. There's more saves by Luukkonen, who had a very good game. And then Gergenson's backhands one in close from Robinson and Samuelson at 15:22. Penguins press to respond. Eventually they pull the goalie, and that leads to Dahlin getting the empty netter at 18:24. Buffalo beats Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. They go to 17-19-4 with the 3-1 victory. Pittsburgh drops to 19-15-4 with the loss. Shots on net: 17-8 Pittsburgh in the first, 15-12 Buffalo in the second, 12-9 Pittsburgh in the third. They do outshoot Buffalo 41-32 in the game. Power plays: Buffalo 0 for 3, Pittsburgh 1 for 5. The hits 25-15 Buffalo. Luukkonen saves 40 out of 41. Jari saves 29 out of 32. So, very entertaining game. Buffalo goes in and beats Pittsburgh. Who saw that one coming? I guess in the previews somebody did, right? Somebody took Buffalo. All right, Toronto Maple Leafs and the San Jose Sharks. And this was the game that a lot of Leafs fans were like, the Sharks will beat us. I don't know. I don't know that the Sharks are a team that beats teams anymore. I think maybe this is what they are, and maybe they will threaten to eclipse that 11-win season from 92-93. So it's Jones versus Blackwood. Remember, Jones used to play in San Jose too, so playing against LA, playing against San Jose, he's probably quite comfortable in those games. Shots are 2-0 San Jose at 2.5 minutes. Domi then has a net drive that's saved. Barabanov misses one wide from in close, as San Jose had a really hard time getting that third shot in the period. Leafs press at 6.5 minutes. Bertuzzi to Tavares gets picked off. The Leafs at that point had the 9 straight shots. They ended up with like 13 or 14 before San Jose got their next chance. We have a power play for Toronto. There's a crossbar for Nylander. It becomes a 5-on-3, and 5-on-3 they score. So last year it took until the final game of the season for Toronto to get a 5-on-3 goal. It will not take till the last game of the season this year. So Marner scores 5-on-3 from Riley and Nylander at 15:22. Then there's a shorthanded Cunnin chance that's saved. That 5-on-4 ends up being killed off. It's still only 1-0. The Leafs press. They get a post after the power play's done. Nyes then had a rush chance that's held. It's 1-0 Toronto after 1. Second period, the Leafs had the lone shot on net 2 minutes in. Sharks press at 5 minutes, but the shots are only 3-2 for the Leafs at the half. Very defensive second period. Really San Jose hockey at that point. Giordano has a shot that's held. The Leafs press with 9 minutes left. The shot attempts 34 minutes into this game, so with roughly 6 minutes left in the second period, the shot attempts were 56-14 for the Leafs. So, yeah, those are just the attempts, of course. Those aren't the shots on net, but it tells you who's controlling this game. Leafs press in the final minute, and they would get one. It just goes through Blackwood. Eventually, if you keep pummeling it long enough, you'll poke a hole in them, even with goalies. So Yarncroke scores from Liljegren and Giordano at 19:17. I don't recommend people do that in life when it comes to things made of metal. You will not punch your way through it. Zetterlund has a wraparound that saved. Hey, I don't want to get an email someday that somebody goes, you said he could punch through anything, and he didn't. It was concrete, and he broke his hand. All right, so it's 2-0 Toronto after 2 periods. We're going to the third period. Sharks press 6 minutes in. The shots are 4 apiece at 8.5 minutes. I wasn't paying as much attention to this game because I know San Jose's not scoring 3 goals in the third period. I just know it. Bertuzzi fires one wide on a rush, and then 9:34 in, also a rush chance goes in. This one does from Nylander. Bertuzzi and McCabe with the assists. And every time Nylander does everything right now, they talk about how his contract extensions incoming. So the soon-to-be extended William Nylander had a goal tonight. Sharks press to respond. Eventually they get one. At 11:57, it's Granlund from Zetterlund and Emberson. So Emberson continues to be pretty good when he plays. Leafs press with 4 minutes left. Eventually Nylander banks one in for a second of the game. Tavares and Bertuzzi with the assists at 16:28. Makes it 4-1. That's your final. Toronto goes to 20-10-7. They love the West Coast swing, don't they? For San Jose, they're 9-28-3. That is 11 straight losses in regulation. Now they get to go to Toronto. Shots on net, 17-3 Toronto in the first, 9-8 San Jose in the second, 12-8 San Jose in the third. Final shots, 33-24 for Toronto. Power plays, Toronto goes 1 for 2, and San Jose said, nah. Hits 9-4 in favor of San Jose. It was not a very physical game. Jones saved 23 out of 24, continues to put up really strong numbers in an emergency situation, whereas Blackwood, 29 saves on 33 shots. And what this does with Jones playing like this is, it means that for as long as Samsonov needs to get his game back, there's no pressure now. Toronto's on a winning streak. They're fine. Take your time. Their next game's at home against San Jose. I'm guessing Jones plays that one too. And with every passing day and week, you're getting closer to Woll coming back. So for all the panic, I think they'll be all right. All right, next up, St. Louis and Carolina. So it's Binnington versus Ronta in this one. The Blues press at 2 minutes. Neighbors is denied as the Blues press. The shots are 3-1 St. Louis at 5 minutes. Canes had one shot halfway through the period. Like, just St. Louis doing well, plus the Canes after a long road trip. You might have some energy issues coming home. Near miss for Verona. The Canes clear, but then Nathan Walker buries one on a breakaway. Sundqvist and Krug with the assists at 11:04. We then get a power play for the Canes. Saad misses one wide on a rush, and then on the power play, Carolina does score. It's Teravainen from Drury at 13:17. That's the only power play Carolina had in the game. Blues press for response. It's 1-1 after 1. Second period, shots are 1 apiece at 4 minutes. Kyrou breaks up a Svechnikov chance. Jarvis is denied. Binnington holds. The Blues press at 6 minutes. Blues press some more at 7.5 minutes, so they're kept to the outside. Power play for St. Louis. That's killed off by Carolina. That was the only power play St. Louis had in the game as well. Canes press with 5 minutes left. There's a near miss for Kotkaniemi, and then the Canes press again in the final minute. This was a fast game too, but without power plays and without goals, makes sense. Third period, Pesce has a wraparound, or a sharp angle shot, I should say, that is saved. And it was a long run before that first whistle. We then had the teams exchanging turnovers. Kind of some sloppy play in that third period, to be honest. Svechnikov to Teravainen, there's a near miss. Then there's a net feed to Ponomarev, which is picked off. Then, the shots are only 2-0 for St. Louis at 7 minutes. So the opportunities are there for Carolina. They're just not hitting the net enough. Kyrou has a chance that's blocked by Stahl. Stahl just keeps him to the outside, doesn't let him get to the net without taking a penalty. That's the key thing. Canes press with 9.5 minutes left. Pesce has a shot that's blocked. It's cleared out. The teams trade rushes. There's a crossbar and out for Dmitry Orlov. That close to the game winner right there. Strong Canes forechecking, and Burns has a shot that's held coming out of that. Canes press with 4 minutes left. Shea has a net feed that's picked off, and there was more pressure by the Canes in the final minute. So we're going to overtime. The Blues control early. There's a steal by Jordan Stahl. He rushes. The Canes set up. Saad was then denied. When the Blues got it, the Canes take it back. Svechnikov's robbed on a rush opportunity. Schen's denied on a rush. Near miss for Aho. And then Aho has a wraparound that's picked off. We're going to a shootout. In the shootout, Braden Schenn with the winner. So St. Louis, they get 2 points in Carolina. They go to 20-17-1 with a shootout victory. Carolina 22-13-5 with the shootout loss. Shots on net 6-5 Carolina in the first, 13-7 Carolina in the second, 9-7 Carolina in the third. In the overtime, the shots were 3-2 for St. Louis. Final shots 30-22 for the Canes. Power play St. Louis 0 for 1, Carolina 1 for 1. The hits 12-10 Carolina. Binnington saved 29 out of 30. He was excellent. And more importantly, I would think for Canes fans especially, Ronta saves 21 out of 22. So his numbers getting a little bit better, and that's great news if you're a Canes fan. All right, next up, Nashville and Dallas. So Dallas had the miracle comeback the last time they played Nashville. Nashville didn't that happen this time. So it's Lankinen versus Wedgwood. Early edge for the Preds. They had the only shot on net 4 minutes into the period. They were controlling Dallas quite well. Robertson has a net feed. That's blocked. The shots end up being 3-1 for Dallas at 7.5 minutes. But still, 3 shots in 7.5 minutes. That's not bad defense by Nashville. Pressed by the Stars at 9 minutes, but it is Nyquist, unassisted, 11:26. That puts Nashville on the board and makes it a 1-0 game. We then get a power play for the Preds. That's killed off. Lindell's denied on a rush chance. Sagan has a shot that's blocked as the Stars press. Teams exchange rush chances with 57 seconds left. The Stars go to the power play, which rolls over into the second period. Actually, Nashville gets the early chance in that second period while still shorthanded. Stars have a 2-on-1 that misfires, and Robertson ends up being denied, but power play ends up being killed off. So big kill there by Nashville. Shots are 3 apiece at 5 minutes. The Stars score, but they challenge for offside. So, yeah, that comes off the board. And then Nashville scores not long after. At 7:22, it's Evangelista making it 2-0 from Novak and Cole Smith. But Dallas does answer. At 9:29, it's Sagan from Duchesne and Marchment. Then there's a mask save on McCarron's net drive chance. Foxa gets denied. The rebound's cleared. The Stars press with 2 minutes left. With 50.3 seconds left, the Stars get a power play, and they score on it. It's Jamie Benn tipping one in. Harley and Robertson with the assists at 19:14. So it's 2-2 after 2. Third period. Early jump for Dallas. There's a press by Nashville at 2 minutes. The Stars end up being forced to ice it. They end up being pinned down. And then that leads to Nashville's next goal. Forsberg on a nice deke and close. Wedgwood had no chance. Nyquist and O'Reilly with the assists at 2:41. The Stars look to respond. They get some pressure, but Nashville gets the next goal as well. It's Forsberg, 5-hole on a wraparound. O'Reilly and Shen at 7:30 with the assists on that goal. So, yeah, Forsberg with a couple of goals. He's got more than 20 this year. He's going to end up being close to 50 goals by the end of the year, I think. Really remarkable run. So that makes it 4-2. Dallas would get one of them back at 10:21. Robertson roofs one short side. Hanley and Harley with the assists. Dallas would pull the goalie. They'd get some looks, but in the end, Nashville wins this one 4-3. They go to 22-17-1 with the win. Dallas 22-11-5 with the loss. Shots on net, 9-6 Nashville in the first, 15-8 Dallas in the second, 8-5 Dallas in the third. Final shots, 29-22 in favor of the Stars. Power plays, Nashville 0 for 1, Dallas 1 for 2. The hits 26-17 Nashville. Lankinen saves 26 out of 29. Wedgwood saved 18 out of 22. Again, Ottinger's close to coming back. Hopefully that's soon. That being said, I need to change boards. All right, Ottawa and Edmonton. Did the misery continue for Ottawa? Yeah, I know Sens fans probably at this point kind of numb to it. So it's Forsberg versus Skinner, and I feel bad for Forsberg because he had a fantastic game. Fogle has a net feed that's held. The Oilers press at a minute and a half. Senators have a 3-on-2 that's defended. The shots are 5-1 Edmonton 4 minutes in. The Oilers are busy turning the puck over. Not that it hurt them at that point, but I felt like it was worthy of being put on the board because, yeah, they were getting kind of sloppy with the puck. There's a press by the Oilers at 7 minutes. Giroux gets shaken up on a hit by Kane. The Sens get a power play, but it wasn't a hit. It was a high stick, so it ends up being a 4-minute power play for the Sens. That was killed off. Pretty good penalty kill by the Oilers, too. Just really aggressive, not giving them much room out there. The Oilers press with 5.5 minutes left. The Sens then get some pressure with 2 minutes left. With 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the period, the Oilers get a power play. So it's scoreless after one. Power play rolls over into the second period where the Sens finish the kill. Good flow to the game. Fast game. Faster than this one here. They started at the same time. Shots are 4-1 for the Oilers at 4 minutes. McDavid's denied on a rush. Kelly has a chance kicked aside. Skinner then denies Kelly in close. Parker Kelly was all around the net in that second period. McDavid's denied on a rush. Kelly has a chance kicked aside. Skinner then denies Kelly in close. I just repeated that. I mean, it sounded much like a much better game for Parker Kelly than it was. So he owes me $5. Yeah, it's cheap. My endorsement's like $5. It's really cheap. Bouchard has a tip shot that's saved. Ekholm fires one wide. The Oilers with some momentum. Not that they were getting sustained pressure. I had to put up there like the Sens are not giving them sustained pressure. They're getting those rush chances, but it's usually going right back out. Shots are 10-9 for the Oilers with 8 minutes left. Brown gets denied on a 2-on-1 rush because Connor Brown's not allowed to get goals. 3:31 left. The Oilers with a power play. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to Hyman. Forsberg ends up holding there. He saw where that puck was going and grabbed it. But then on the power play, it's through a screen and Bouchard wires it. Nugent-Hopkins with the assist at 18:08. It's 1-0 for the Oilers. Batherson nearly answers. Things are kind of pushy at the horn. Hey, the Sens are kind of frustrated. It's understandable. Third period, the Oilers have the early pressure. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has a shot that's blocked and cleared. And then Hyman scores from Bouchard at 2:46. So for Zach Hyman, it was the start of another pretty solid game for him. Actually, he ends up being credited with that first goal, doesn't he? I didn't change it. Okay, it's Hyman for Bouchard and Nugent-Hopkins. It was a Hyman tip. Initially, they gave it to Hyman, and then they switched it to Bouchard. Dag nabbit. At least I've got it down here, so I did correct it down here. I didn't correct it up here. So, Hyman scores from Bouchard at 2:46. Let us go through. And it was on the next zone entry, and that one kind of went through Forsberg. But as I said, if you hit something long enough, it'll just create a hole. You put the hole through it. Goalies, it works that way. Giroux has a rush that's defended. McLeod fires one wide. The Oilers press. Bouchard has a tip shot that's held. Shots are 6-4 for the Oilers at 9.5 minutes. There's a shorthanded Janmark chance that's saved. Power play's killed off. The Oilers press with 6.5 minutes left. The Senators score. It's waved off for goalie interference. We get some pushing, but Jacques Martin challenges it. I wasn't sure if that one was going to be overturned. I understood why he wanted it to happen, because you're down 2-0. You need this goal, and they get it. So it counts. On the replay, they say there wasn't goalie interference, which led to the crowd not being very happy. Kelly ends up getting that goal from Tkachuk and Brandstrom at 15:02. Then with 3:33 left, the Oilers get a power play. They would score on it at 17:09. It's Hyman with the hat trick. So all three of those goals are Hyman's. It's a face-off win and buried. Draisaitl with the assist. The goalie gets pulled by Ottawa. They can't get any closer. Your final score is 3-1. For the Oilers, they're 20-15-1 with the win. They're now 15-3 in their last 18 games. Ottawa 14-21 with the loss. Shots on net, 15-8 Edmonton in the first, 18-11 Edmonton in the second, 13-12 Edmonton in the third. They outshoot the Sens 46-31. Power plays, Ottawa 0 for 3, Edmonton 2 for 3. The hits 27-14 Ottawa. Forsberg saved 43 out of 46. Skinner saved 30 out of 31. All right, last game of the night, last game of the day, Islanders and the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas really needed this one, and they played like they really needed it. Sorokin versus Thompson in this one. Cizikas gets shaken up throwing ahead. He exits. He would return. Didn't miss very much. Vegas presses at 2 minutes, and Cizikas would return at about 3 minutes, which is good news for the Islanders, because that's that fourth line of theirs. Shots are 4-0 Islanders at 4.5 minutes, but on their first shot, Vegas scores. It's Eichel from Marchessault and Pietrangelo at 6:25. Engvall misses one high on a net drive. He had a couple opportunities in that first period. Shots are pressed by Vegas. They're kept to the outside. Stone fires one high from the slot. Horvat fires one wide on a rush. And then the horn ends up sounding. Later on in the play, Barzal thought he scored, and he did. It's a goal for Barzal from Horvat and Lee at 11:13. That ties the game at 1. Then there's a mask save on a Hague one-timer. Amadio gets denied on a fast break. With 1:49 left, the Islanders get a power play. They're not able to work a goal before the end of the period, so the other 11 seconds are killed by Vegas to start the second period. Cormier has a chance that's held by Sorokin. There's a press by Vegas at 3 minutes. Shots are 3-1 for the Golden Knights 4 minutes into the period. There's a press by Vegas. The Islanders block. They clear. Eichel has a net drive that's defended. McNabb has a shot that's held. Horvat had a rush chance this blocker to side. Dobson has a shot that's blocked. Vegas rushes the other way. Lee nearly makes it 2-1 on a 2-on-1, which would have been great, but it didn't happen. But at least I got that on the board. And then Dorofeev makes it 2-1, but in favor of Vegas. Stevenson and Stone at 17:11 with the assists. It was a nice pass by Stevenson, and so Dorofeev gets to tap one in. And then at 18:41, Roy scores. He gets that one from Howden and Kolasar. It was a screen chance for Sorokin. Goalie interference challenge is taken. It was close. Honestly, it's another one where it could have gone either way, but in the end, it counts. So Vegas gets the power play out of that. That rolls over into the third period, and Vegas would score early in the third on that power play at 31 seconds. It's Eichel from Cormier. I believe that's his first NHL point. Kudos to him for that. Vegas then looks for another, but at 2:42, off of a good forecheck by Cizikas, Martin gets a goal, so Cizikas the only assist on that. And Martin bearing the rebound to get the Islanders a goal closer. But at 4 minutes and 20 seconds, Roy scores from Kolasar. That one kind of leaks through Sorokin. We get a power play for the Islanders. That's killed off. Denisenko's denied on a 3-on-2 rush. And in the end, Vegas wins this one 5-2. They go to 23-12-5 with the win. The Islanders 19-11-10 with the loss in regulation. Shots on net 15-9 Vegas Islanders in the first, 11-6 Vegas in the second. Both teams had 9 shots in the third. Final shots 30-29 for the Islanders. Power plays, the Islanders 0 for 2. Vegas scored on the only one they needed. Hits 30-19 Islanders. Sorokin 24 saves on 29 shots. Logan Thompson saved 28 out of 30. Solid start from Thompson. Goals from some guys that needed him in Vegas, and a victory. So a lot of things Vegas has needed lately took place tonight. Let me know your thoughts regarding these games in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.